Right,
chat.
there we go. I thought I had muted it, but I
Yeah,
accidentally
that's
unmuted. Cool.
Alright, cool.
You don't want to hear some like background rustling just as ambience for the show.
You are now listening to Beyond the Veil, a production of Holosuite Media. Tune in to our live show every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The following live broadcast may not be suitable for all ages. The views expressed in this show are solely those of the individual providing them and do not represent the opinion of this station, website, or any affiliated partners. Audience discretion is advised.
Hello and good evening, everyone. How are you? I hope you are all saying you are great, at least that you're good, nothing bad. We are sending you good vibes from the internet and across the world through our live stream. Yeah, I kind of got a little bit Xander-ish there with my greeting. Yeah. So, let's jump in and see who's with me tonight. We have Griff. Sorry, ladies first.
Hi!
How are you, Griff?
I am alright, thanks. How are you doing?
A little bit confused at the moment, but that will pass.
Natural.
You fit right in with everybody else. I wouldn't worry about it.
I know. Yeah, we're just that kind of a bunch. Sorry. Then we have Very. Hello, Very.
Hi there, always lovely to be called a lady.
Oh, yes, that is.
Always nice, thank you, Antida. And I'm fine. And I'm on holiday, so it's all good.
Woohoo! Yay for holiday! It's that kind of year, that time of the year to go on holidays. Yes, I hope lots of you guys and gals of the secret world end up going to the beaches and just having fun in the sun. Next up we have Xander.
Hey, even Santa Claus gets to come once a year.
Sure. Hey, by the way, we also have, you heard, Gigabyte.
Hello.
Hello. I like the way you say hello. Say it
Hello.
Hell is very low, actually.
That's my sexy voice.
Okay. Last but not least, as always, we have Azak Thor.
I don't want to have to follow up with my sexy voice, so I'll just say hello, everyone. How's it going? Good morning.
Good morning to you too. It's kind of like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. for the majority of us. Deep night.
It's not my
for the
fault.
rest.
You live in the wrong part of the world. I mean,
Hey,
you chose to
hey.
live there.
Well, I don't actually mind it because it's my summer and it's your winter over there. So deal with that.
Well, I get to wear
Deal with
gloves
the
and a
cold.
scarf, and you don't. So, I mean, who's winning here?
Can I just say
Sir-
I was just going to say, as your winter's probably warmer than my summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
what you
It
get for
certainly
living in
is.
Scotland.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, I don't want to think about, Christmas just yet and Santa Claus and, cold and all that jazz because in Canada we get it for the majority of the year. So, yeah, let's keep summer feeling welcome and keep it as long as we possibly can.
Well,
But
and
yes,
we've
go
got
ahead.
2 seasons where I'm at. We've got winter and road construction, and we are heavily into road construction now, so that's always fun.
Nice.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, but at least your roads are going to be real nice come whatchamacallit, winter.
They're doing a massive road project in like the main highway that goes through where I live that like everybody goes on that is apparently going to last like 2 years, and they've got the whole thing torn up, and it's actually really a mess.
2 years, dude.
That's what I'm hearing. I mean, I'm hoping they'll have it at least drivable by winter and then maybe go back next year and finish, but I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I thought construction like that lasted, a long time in Croatia, where I'm originally from. Yeah. Even we tend to handle it faster. But anyway,
Yeah.
we are not here to discuss, kind of traffic conditions all around the world. We're here to talk about TSW. Yes, we are. We are here
Can
to
we
talk
can we
about.
get an eye in the sky though? Because that'd be really good.
You see, if Scriv was here, he would tell you we don't want eye in the sky. We want eye on my hat in game. Yes. See how I brought that back to TSW?
That would be a really good thing.
Actually, in TSW, we do have an eye in the sky, but it's in City of the Sun God.
True. Very much true. And it's kind of
Very good point.
creepy. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, Mordor. I just
It's a
couldn't.
really nice little effect they've got. It's been changed though, hasn't it? It's not the same as it was with launch. They updated it sometime.
I don't go to that zone much. Apart from golems, I don't go there at all anymore.
Yeah, I tend to
Yeah,
avoid
the
City of
only-
the Sun God.
I'm sorry, I always get lost there. I have no idea where I'm going, and it's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Okay, where's Agartha? Agartha, click.
The City of the Sun God is one of the places that's really kind of nice now that we have the fast travel, though. That makes it a lot nicer.
True,
It's very true.
true. It makes it so much faster and so much easier as well. And it's dirt cheap, so why not do it, right?
Yeah, a lot of people have said they have trouble with City of the Sun God. Not difficulty, but they're just getting around and navigating. Maybe I just don't navigate properly. Never had too much trouble with that. Did you find it difficult?
I did.
I think I have more trouble now. Like when I was in the zone, I learned where things were and it wasn't a big deal. But then if you're away for a while, I kind of forget where pathways are sometimes. I've got a few marked on my map though. I've got a few like actual marked, pathway here, so that probably helps.
Yeah, there are lots of nice
Hmm.
little pathways and hidden secrets to find there.
What secrets? There's no secrets there.
There is a little cave, where you got those big giant skeletons of something that's never been explained, and I really hope does. There is a little secret little cave there, which you can find I suppose it's a world boss there, which when I first discovered it, absolutely destroyed me, like a bone cutter or something named. Just, one of those world bosses just hitting there. And there was another secret, it's no longer a secret now, because you can now look on your map and find out that there's where all the missions are. It used to be a bit of a secret where there was all those sand golems, like a sand golem mission, where you had to go through some tunnels and find your way out to find them. It felt like a secret anyway, but I don't know, maybe I got the bar a bit too low.
You broke Antita.
I was messing with the show notes and clicked on a link thinking I'll be opening something different. And all of a sudden the video started and I'm like, no, shut it down.
And that's exactly how she told Joel that he was an asshole.
Someone's gonna get hurt real bad tonight, I can tell you that. Or, if nothing else, no coffee tomorrow morning. Haha. That's gonna be my revenge, yes. But anyway, so there has been lots and lots and lots of cool stuff that came out from that dev stream like 2 weeks ago. We kind of covered quite a bit of it last week while Katarina One was on the podcast and we talked to him. There's something, did we cover everything? I can't even for the life of me remember, and now my computer is playing up.
We got into like the Boolean right at the end, but we didn't even really start talking about issue 12 till right at the end, so I don't think we got into everything.
We
True.
definitely left a lot out of the discussion.
Okay, so what did we leave out? Let's talk about it now. What comes to mind? Black Boolean. So we still don't know exactly how much. There is a cap that will be put on Black Boolean, just like the marks of Pantheon, right? And it's not going to be, from what I understand, from the information currently on Test Live, let's not deal in numbers for now because that can get changed, but it's not really enough, a lot of people are saying. What do you guys...
Really?
Yeah, because look, the thing is, everything in the game, when they do this currency revamp, will be giving out Boolean. So you can't really expect everything that you can currently get for Boolean to actually stay at the same price. It's not going to. That price is actually going to go up. And it seems like it's going up tenfold for now. That's the current thing on Test Live. At least I think it was today. So in any case, imagine how much Black Boolean you actually need to spend in order to upgrade a weapon all the way to 10.4 or a talisman. So what do you guys do, or what did you do when you were upgrading? Would you then just save up as much Black Boolean as you needed in order to upgrade immediately from 10 QL10 purple to 10.4 in one go, or did you go back and forth and update it to 10.1 and then play it some more and then to 10.2? Did you do it like in sections like that, or did you do it all at once? Because this is where the crunch times might come.
Well, when I was initially gearing up getting into Nightmares, I just spent Bullion as soon as I got it. I wasn't, stockpiling, wasn't hoarding it then. I am now, of course, but at the time, no, if I got Bullion, if I went and did got into an 18s run, maybe we did just 17s, I then went in and spent it straight away. So if there was a cap in place at the time, that wouldn't have been a problem for me then. Not while leveling up. It's now when you've got everything that you feel you need, and then you're working on maybe a secondary set, or you're not quite sure what to do. That's when a cap becomes a problem.
In theory, though, even for a secondary set, if you know you're working with a cap, you could still, upgrade less all at once and more in pieces. I mean, you could still do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always done it the
require-
latter. I've always gone with sort of get a few bits upgraded, play with it a little bit, see how it works, and then if that's working well, upgrade it a little bit more, and then just step by step, working up that way. I can see working with like a secondary or even tertiary in this game build that a cap, might get some people a little bit upset. But again, it's just a case of building up your skills with that build as you're upgrading the pieces. So you get them all to 10.1, see how it plays. Get them all to 10.2, see how that plays, etc., etc.
Yeah, because... Oh, go ahead, Ez.
I was just going to talk about numbers there. Currently, it costs about 200 black bullion to upgrade a talisman up to 0.4.4. That's 10.4.4, so both the talisman and the glyph. Yeah, about 200 bullion, which is about a week's worth of stuff. When the conversion happens, the current prices on TestLive, which are subject to change, it's going to be about 2,000 of the new black bullion. The cap is currently the cap they're currently thinking about is 1,200, so 1,200. So the cap isn't even one full talisman, which can that you could run into trouble if you have to quickly make something for your build. If you're out there and you've got everything else you need, you're going to run into trouble with that. You're going to have to do a bit of extra work. You can't just have a couple of spare talismans that you can quickly build on the fly. You're going to have to plan ahead much more.
Yeah. So like you said, it's not a problem when you're gearing up because you actually want to get even that little bit of difference if you're a DPS or you're tanking and you need to get your block up or hit rating up, whichever. And it really does make a difference when it comes to your glyph stats. So when you're gearing up, you're working on your first set, and for your primary role, you do tend to upgrade immediately. And as most of you have said, once you actually create your first set later on, you may not do that because you already have that. You might just kind of not hoard, but keep the black bullion because, hey, you might turn out to like healing better or something like that. So then you want to just upgrade one particular talisman or weapon all the way up to 10.4 right away instead of making several trips to your faction headquarters. Now, there has been some suggestion that the current cap of 1,200 that is currently on TestLive right now, that is subject to change if the development team feels the need to do so. And of course, if people's feedback on TestLive forums are such that it makes them rethink it. People are saying that the cap for black bullion should be at least one full upgrade to 10.4.4, or, well, in the case it will be after the patch, after issue 12, full 10.5s, because you'll be able to buy astral fuses and criterion upgrades from your faction vendors as well. Do you think there might be, because from my view, that can be a good thing and a bad thing. It can be a good thing where it gives the players the ability to actually do what they want to do. But at the same time, it kind of goes back to what Tilty was saying, that they don't want players. The reason for this cap is so that they prevent players from being gods right as something new comes out and being able to purchase at least the majority of whatever that it is that you're buying with Black Bullion. So what do you guys think? Do you think that cap should be raised, or do you think it should stay as such as it is? Because right now there's no cap. There's players out there with 6,000 Black Bullion plus.
Well, I think one thing that's kind of important to remember is none of us necessarily have all of the information. We don't know if they plan to have more bullion sinks. We don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. So something that sounds like it makes sense to us, like it sounds like it makes sense to me to at least be able to fully upgrade one thing, but that could totally be a bad thing based on information we don't have. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand that argument. I think Tilty's argument of not wanting people to be overpowered, I think that's rubbish. Unless they're putting something else in the game that Black Bullion can be used for, all the good stuff is going to cost the new Marks of the Pantheon, which none of us have. We can't stockpile that before it launches.
Good stuff for who? good stuff for people who have already gone to 10.4s, 10.5s, so we're the ones who are going to need, and gamers are the ones who will need Marks of Pantheon, whereas the rest of the people, especially people starting out, they're still going to need Black Bullion.
Oh, they're going to need it, but they don't already have it, so they're not going to run into trouble with the cap anytime soon. The only thing that just came to me, the only thing that I can think of that we could possibly use as a new bullion sink, which they might not want us to have lots of, would be if we could buy augment bags, like the reward bags of augments. Or just buy augments directly. That is the only thing I can think of, off the top of my head here, that would potentially ruin an economy if we could just suddenly buy everything. Similar to how we got the credits of the gold credits, where we can only, if we can't have too many of them to then flood the market with signet bags. This could be something similar, but with augments.
Yeah, because if they're not. Did Tilty say that they're going to be revisiting the loot table in scenarios? Because that's been a hot topic forever. And I can't for the life of me now remember. The only thing that comes to mind is that he said honorable instead of answering the question about scenarios.
I don't remember them mentioning anything about revisiting loot tables, to be honest, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. Like you say, it has been a hot button topic for a while.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about the loot tables, but they were going to look into making changes to the system somehow. There wasn't any detail, though.
I know there was something mentioned about that, and it wasn't referring to any kind of new scenario or anything like that. It was something to do with technical stuff at the back end, so to speak, of scenarios, which should, and I can't for the no, I'm not going to say anything because it could be total rubbish whatever I say, so I'll better double check it and mention it next week if I can. But yeah, I mean, the other problem, Vikestart rightly pointed out in our Twitch chat, that the problem right now is the gear manager, because as Tilty had explained to us, the reason the gear manager does not save your updated deck, well, if you update a deck, then everything's peachy perfect. But if you then go on and you upgrade a glyph in a talisman, or you upgrade your weapon to like from 10.2 to 10.3, you upgrade glyph in that weapon, any kind of minor upgrade like that makes the system not see it as identical talisman or weapon as the one you previously had, because let's face it, it's not. And as a result, when you switch your decks, you don't get all the talismans and weapons switched correctly. So sometimes you can have nothing there, sometimes you can have something completely blah. Or you can just have, most of the times you end up having a talisman that was there from the previous deck. So if you were healing and now you're going to be tanking, those two don't jive. So you're going to be up shit creek without a paddle at times, it seems. So it would be great if they could figure out a way to actually recognize that a talisman is exactly the same one, regardless of what kind of upgrade you do to it, because it's the same talisman. It's just being upgraded from 10.1 to 10.5, in maybe steps or all at once. But it would be great if they could find a way for the system to recognize those upgrades and then not mess with the deck manager.
They couldn't do that realistically with the current system. They'd have to completely overhaul the whole system for that. The alternative would be every time you change something in your build or your paper doll, like your talismans, your weapons, things like that, you'll be presented with a dialog box saying, "Would you like to save this to this build? Yes or no?" and that would come up every single time you change something. That would be the alternative. I mean, anything else would be too heavy on the database side of it, especially with the current system the way it is.
Yeah, because it ticks me off. Like I have my Coney Island band in several, not several, but lots of my decks. And you know, if I did something to the glyph before, it would just not equip, and then I would go into a scenario where it was most noticeable, and I just wasn't getting the self heals that I needed. It was like, what the hell? I have 2 health pieces. How can I possibly not be self healing? And then I look, and it's some sort of weird talisman from God knows what, you know. So yeah,
Hang
that
on, why
used
do I
to
have
tick me
these
off.
tokens attached?
Yeah, no, that would be, I think, really good fix for the gear manager.
The same for augments and capacitors as well. They sometimes have trouble with the gear manager.
Yep, I've noticed that too with the capacitors. If you they act exactly the same way unless you update manually update your build once you upgrade the capacitor, because I've upgraded my capacitors to like 10 QL 7 and 8, and I had I think 1.9, and then I forgot to save it or resave it, and then went back, switched builds because I was in a dungeon, and then came back to Tokyo, and I was still left on like QL3, QL4, QL5 max, and I was, what the hell? Where are they? Because I had almost sold, I had almost vendored my higher capacitors, and that would have been bad.
Well, I mean, right now, with all the suggestions you guys are throwing around, it's pretty much pick your poison. You have it the way it is right now, where you have to go in and save it yourself, or you have it where the system prompts you to save it every single time you change something, or you have it where the system attempts to automatically update whatever build is currently equipped to that item, which would increase the amount of client lag or server lag. So it pretty much is pick your poison with that, really.
Mm. I don't know, but still.
I haven't had enough time on Test Live to test out how much of the new Boolean various activities get you. I know the very first mission in Kingsmith gives you 1, and the side mission also gives you 1. I don't know how much the in-game content gives. I'm not sure how much the high-level missions give. So it still is hard to tell how long it will take to reach that cap, but it still doesn't. It still seems a sort of a thing where you're going to have to, if you need an upgrade, you then have to go out and do the activity then. You can't do the activity beforehand. You can't, if your friends want to, run Polaris 10 times in a row, you're going to hit a point where it's no longer as rewarding for you unless you then go and, say, buy some kits and just save them for later. So you still end up having to stock something, but you then have to do the activity on demand.
Yeah, that was the point with a friend that I was talking about. He said that it will be breaking the game where people will feel the need to go and just quickly spend their black bullion, because if they're still gearing up, they're going to be needing every single bit of it. At least that's kind of the mentality of people. Let's upgrade now. I cannot lose even 5-10 bullion, because 5-10 bullions later on is going to be like 1 or 2 bullions now, and sometimes it makes the difference. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out, and if the cap will be increased from current 1200 for the black bullion. We still, I think, do we know anything about Marks of Pantheon, like what we will be able to buy for them?
Yes, we do. Just one last thing while I'm getting cranky about this. Of course, if they put the a limit in from the start, we wouldn't be having this discussion. We wouldn't be complaining about it. But it feels like something's being taken away from us as
Free
as
content.
wonderfully entitled gamers. The credits, the golden credits, that has a cap. I don't think we were told it had a cap. A lot of people just found out the hard way that it had a cap, but we don't worry about that too much. It's this here. The cap is the equivalent of currently. It's the equivalent of 120 black bullion, which doesn't seem like much because everything's tenfold. Okay, onto the marks. Yes, we do know about them. We know a little bit about that. You have something to say there, Jeff.
Really quick, yeah, I had something back about the bullion. Just as a side note, something else to keep in mind, they have adjusted things that were live before. The scenario prices to get into Tokyo, they eventually adjusted those. So I'm guessing even if we go live with a cap that nobody ends up agreeing with, there's always the chance that they'll change it later.
So a year and a half down the track, they might change it for us then.
You've got to realize though too.
Wow.
I'm also speaking from a perspective where I am still like 10.2-ish. So me hitting a bullion cap also isn't, something I need to worry about.
Yeah, I think that's that cap issue is only going to happen to. Okay, I only know of one person, a Cabal mate, who was actually saving up black bullion in order to be able to upgrade all the way to 10.4 in one go, and I never understood that. I was like, well, I want every little bit of extra DPS that I can get. So I kept going back and forth, back and forth. As soon as I would have enough for an upgrade, I would go and I would upgrade. He wasn't like that. He was very mindful about how he's spending it. So he would always wait. But I think for the most part, the majority of players will just absolutely not have an issue with the cap. And considering that we don't know, they might put vendors somewhere else as well at the beginning of the dungeon, or something like that. So. And it's going to be easy peasy. Getting, like, if you mistakenly exit the dungeon now, your group is screwed and has to look for someone else because you cannot get back in. The cooldown kicks in and you're locked out. Where, as it will become, all the cooldowns will be removed. We will be able to get in, get out as we please. So I don't really think that would be an issue as much when people say, can I just have, a 2-minute break? I just need to go and upgrade. I don't think anyone will really mind that.
Oh, I don't think we're going to run into that. You'll get maybe 100 bullion per dungeon instead of the 10. You're not going to run into the cap halfway through with missing. I don't think it's going to be like the white marks. It's more going to be like you get to the end of a week or halfway through a week and you've hit your cap and you're not quite sure what you need to do next.
I wonder though, if all of my stuff was 10.5 right now, I would be a lot more interested in getting the Marks of Pantheon to upgrade further. I wonder if I wouldn't rather, if I had a whole crap ton of bullion, I wonder if I wouldn't almost rather have that in packs if the bullion isn't going to be something I need to upgrade, right now.
Yeah.
Could we just have a small moment's silence for all the PvPers who are going to have to cash in their black marks? Because there are some PvPers, myself included, who are sitting, who are sitting with thousands of black marks. Thousands.
Well, serves them right. They shouldn't have been a hoarder.
I was like saving 1,000 in order to buy one of the gadgets there for PvP. And I felt bad because I spent a lot on the bags.
Well, I have well in excess of over 9,000 black marks. And I am probably one of the ones with the lowest black marks. So, yes.
No, you're not. I have one black mark.
It's going to be
So-
interesting to see how they calculate um, all the sequence from Kingsmouth to sequence of sunrise in Tokyo, and what the ratio is going to be versus Black Bullion. How they're going to take that into consideration. That's going to be interesting to see. I wonder if we'll be told, or they'll just do the algorithm and just convert everything.
There's a lot of PvPers discussing at the moment what to spend their black marks on.
Yeah. What
Oh,
what
yeah.
you guys gonna spend it on?
Well, there's a lot of well, there's a lot of theories. Well, not theories, but suggestions. Um, I mean, a lot of people are talking about looking through their builds and working out what's missing and buying weapons, talisman, upgrading them so that when the conversion happens, these will become custom. Some people are talking about buying materials, mats, because we're always in need of them for our augments.
Yeah.
So, because, we are farmers, but we're not huge farmers. So a lot of the materials come from PvP and buying the pots to break them down. So there's a lot of discussion at the moment on what black marks could be spent on.
Yeah. Vike says it appears, at least from the test live as it is right now, it appears that Fusang missions give packs now, and the new advanced Fusang missions will be giving out pantheons. Something to consider. So, you see, it's actually good. I haven't even considered that. Tilty kept saying, we're going back to, during the dev stream, we're going back to that motto, play like as you want to play. So if you want a PvP, there's nothing from stopping you to PvP and from getting the same kind of gear and be able to progress as a PvEer. So I haven't actually considered that Pantheon's marks of Pantheon will be in PvP as well. I just thought, nightmare content. So yeah, good refreshment. Thank you, Vike.
I don't like the word consider. I like the word consider because cider is tasty.
What
I would
on
agree with
earth
that.
is this?
Xander, I would agree with that. I like your train of thought there.
I know. Thank
Yeah,
you. I'm
yeah.
blessed. I'm like, not for
I
the
wouldn't
screen.
say you were
I'm like a
blessed.
savant. I come up with the coolest things. Just like, poof, there you go.
I don't like
Cider.
that word. I don't
Yeah.
like that word.
But
Does my
blessed,
word offend you?
blessed is not a word I would use, but fair enough. So so it'll be interesting to see how Fusang go with the new missions and the additional ones as well. It's kind of, I think I read somewhere about Newbie was saying it's gone back actually to what it was Fusang post 1.3.
Yep, I read that too. Yeah.
Is that
So
one when you had the 30-minute cooldowns for animal well capture?
there was a lot of swapping facilities going on at that point. There was a lot of facility swapping because yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Are you
that's,
happy? What do you think, Veri, about the changing the Venice to custom gear? Do you like that as a solution, or would you prefer to have them separate still?
No, I'm quite happy with that. Actually, I'm quite happy that they're equalising everything because what it means to me is that there's no. The problem I always had with a lot of the PVE, I didn't have a problem with PVE, but the fact that I had to play it, and if I was playing PVE, it was at the
You
opportunity
had to come
cost.
down on my level.
It's not that I didn't enjoy PVE. I do enjoy PVE, but it was I started off as a PVEer and a role player, and then the bug hit me. But the opportunity cost of me playing PVE to upgrade my gear is that I wasn't playing PvP. And if I'm not playing PvP, that's one less PvPer. And if you generate that right across the board, then you have less people in PvP. So, and also, a lot of my friends that I used to play PvP with didn't want to play PvE, but they felt that they either left the game because they couldn't progress any further with their gear, or they had to play PvE and they didn't want to do that. So now there's no barriers there. To me, this is positive. It means people can PvP and they're going to be able to progress at the same, which means more people in PvP.
Exactly, and there's a lot of players, like you said, PvPers who have left the game for one reason or another, as you've stated, at least some of those reasons. So hopefully, opening up the PvP progression to full path of, or equalizing it with PvE progression in the game, hopefully will bring at least some of those players back, and make PvP a happy place again. And by happy,
Well,
I mean everybody
you know,
happy-go-lucky and smile and let's dance, and I just mean like happy because hey, Stonehenge and El Dorado will be popping, Fusang will be full, and then people will be moaning and complaining about how they can never get into Fusang.
I mean,
the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
And that as well, and and yeah, and the equal footing buff as well. I hope that that's going to be effective.
Yep. So do you have, like, from the PvP side of the community, do a lot of PvPers go to Test Live and test things out and provide feedback?
They are at the moment, yes.
Yeah, because I know you guys are a passionate bunch.
Well, yeah, exactly. And so I mean, there's mixed feelings about this issue 12. I mean, there's the usual people blowing hot air about it at the moment. It's every issue that comes in, it's a change for PvPers. We have to evolve, we have to adjust, we have to look at our gear. That's why we're sitting with a lot of black marks, because we usually have to reglyph or make up new pieces. So this is going to be an interesting change. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm reserving judgment at the moment, I suppose. But I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and you're going to have a lot of change, because then issue 13 was going to be PvP gear too.
Yes. And we're really looking forward to that. And yeah, that's going to be the big one, and we'll wait and see what happens there.
Not to further derail, but I still have absolutely no idea where issue 13 is going to be set. Tilty just blew us all out of the water when we asked him directly, is it going to be Antarctica, Congo, Moon? And he said, no, there is somewhere else first.
Yeah, I know. And that's why I asked, will it be connected to one of the factions? Meaning, will we go to either New York, London, or Seoul? You never know.
We could go to the lost city of Atlantis, buried underneath the sea.
Woo!
The moon.
Oh, damn, I wish.
We could go to the moon.
The moon, yeah.
Moon. That'd be really awesome. I don't have to put myself on the screen. That'd be really awesome if you were on that. Remember that movie? It was the funny comedy movie where Buddy had like the space monkey, and he had the monkey in the suit, and then he was like kind of crazy, and he was the only person that could go out and fix the satellite. And then he like totally farted in his suit, but he had his suit hooked up to his friend's suit. So it went. You see this big humongous air bubble go from the monkey to his suit, or something like that. You see this big bubble going, and then it finally gets to his, and his whole suit just like pops right up, and he starts floating around. Hey, that could be the new auxiliary weapon. A new auxiliary weapon.
Yeah, they should definitely include that. Definitely include that. It's a great idea, Sandra.
Something tells me that probably wasn't a TV show, and more was like maybe a bad NyQuil dream that Nozanda had.
Plus one.
But I'm just reading the
Awesome.
Twitter chat there, and Dr. Redacted is talking about something before the Fusang merges. And I'm trying to remember what that might have been. You're talking about an event?
Yeah, but you see, I experienced that very same thing. Actually, Xander was there. The first time the Lord of Misrule got into PvP, and it was toward the end of it, and lots of people were trying to get into PvP and to actually get that achievement. And the entire Fusang just kind of ground to a halt, and people were just going like people from one faction were following and protecting someone of a completely different faction, taking it like halfway across the map to another player so that they can get the achievement, kill the Lord of Misrule and whatnot. So it was just great general atmosphere there, and it was like, wow, is this PvP?
Well, we did do that Christmas past there. We used to call out in general if somebody had Lord of Misrule, where they could find them. They usually used to go to
Yeah.
an animal well and wait and be killed
Yeah. Yep.
so that people could get the achievement. I mean, whilst we don't we don't want our PvP disrupted, we're actually, there's 90% of us are actually quite decent. I know it's a shocker, and I don't want that to get out, and I don't want us to kind of
Walk the bed cats out of the bag now.
I don't want us to get a good reputation or anything, but yeah.
You guys have an absolutely amazing and awesome reputation as one of the friendliest people in the game, unless you're PvPing. In that case, all bets are off.
Absolutely.
Yep, I know. I can vouch for that.
We
I know
try.
some-
I'm listening. I'm like waiting. I know Griff wants to say something.
Well, I don't want to interrupt the PvP, but with the equal footing, that there's just so much in this upcoming issue that's going to wind up being free, and I think that's really kind of awesome.
It is awesome, but to me, it's a cause to worry. I don't even know. I've said it to a number of players. I'm not sure if I had said it publicly on Beyond the Veil. And here's my worry, right? We have issue 12, which will be divided into two parts. Then we have, so issue 12 is group content related. The rest of the stuff are going to be put in to the game for free. Like dailies, all the currency revamp and all that. Obviously, that has to be put into the basic game, so it has to be a free update. But as for the rest, like you said, the majority of the updates are going to be free. So people will actually be paying for the group content. So if issue 12 is brought out in two parts, both of which will be group content, and we know that issue 13 is going to be related. Sure, there's going to be some storytelling there, and it's going to involve PvP. So if it's mainly PvP oriented, will people still buy it? So that's potentially 3 content updates, probably until the end of the year. What happens if people don't buy it? And I mean, that's not just a concern that's limited to me. I think even the development team, Tilty had said they'll see how everything goes and how people actually end up buying it. And I really hope that they somehow, those side stories that were made or halfway made for Tokyo that never came out? They did the recordings. I'm not sure to what extent they did the missions. But I'm really hoping that they end up putting something of that in there as well. I'm sure there will be, people who are not interested in buying, just being completely grumpy and saying, well, I'm not paying, blah, 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 for, I don't know, 3 missions that I'm going to play. I don't play group content. I don't play dungeons and blah, 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 blah. But I think if you're a supporter of the game, I think you would purchase it even if you don't really play the group content, but you can't really rely on that. Is
Well,
anyone else concerned about how well they are going to do financially?
well, for me, I would hope that people would support Funcom and buy it. Second of all, I bought a motorbike and I don't use it, but I support Funcom and I'll buy their content. And whether or not people want to PvP, I totally understand that. But all I would say is that now with them equalising everything, you can get black bullion in PvP, you can get your Pantheon marks in PvP. There's absolutely no reason not to, because it's just another part of the game that you can play, and you never know, you might even have fun.
And I think with some of the, some of the bullion stuff and being able to buy the fuses, I think there's a chance more people will be interested in dungeons if they feel like they can gear up a little bit before. But I also think it's going to be an interesting experiment, because we've had a lot of people on the forums for a long time saying, well, if you just had more group content, more people would play. Well, if you just gave us more group
Yep.
content, then more people would play. So
And
I'm
so
not
many
saying,
people
I'm not
leaving
saying I
because
hope
there
it
was no group
fails. I'm not
content.
saying, I'm not saying anything bad there, but it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out when they actually do give us more group content,
And also, I would say as well, as Antita's touched upon, there's a whole section in the game that you might just be missing out on if you don't PvP, because there's a whole group of us that do PvP, and we're actually quite a tight-knit community as well. So it would be really good to have people coming in and joining us. And again, you never know, you might like it.
Well, I mean, the
Oh,
thing to
yeah.
remember from a pure marketing perspective, this game is what is essentially known as PvE centric, and PvP is the almost like a side project to the main storyline of the PvE, and that is the main focus of the game is the PvE. And
I don't
as
think that's by choice, though.
yes, it is, because there are
Okay.
games out there that are PvP centric. Much like EVE Online and things like that, who do concentrate mainly on the PvP element.
True.
And have PvE as a side project.
The-
But as someone, Quiet Requiem Evolved, mentions in the Twitch chat, there are people who don't and won't PvP. And mainly that's because they have either had bad experiences in PvP in other games, or they have absolutely no interest in the PvP aspect of a game. I have to say I'm in that second camp. I've tried PvP, and to be honest, I really don't get on with it and never have done. It's not an environment that I've ever felt comfortable playing in. And I can see that from that perspective, there would be people who maybe don't want to purchase that, just because if it is all PvP, then why bother purchasing it if I'm never going to play that? So I think Funcom maybe are shooting themselves in the foot a little bit if they don't incorporate something in terms of a PvE content and just focus solely on PvP.
I think it's a real shame that we're separating PvP here, because it is still part of the whole big game. There is a secret war going on.
Yep.
And where else in PvP can you actually fight the other factions? I mean, really fight the other factions.
Yeah,
Because that's
but
what you're doing. And I totally respect people's viewpoints of it, but you're ruling out an entire section of the game, which is a shame, because most PvPers haven't. We play PvE, we enjoy PvE, we respect PvEers, and my God, some of the PvEers, I'd love to get into PvP. But it's up to people. If they want to support Funcom, buy it. Then if they don't, then they don't buy it.
I think it'd be a whole new world, a new fantastic point of view. If we had open world PvP where I can
Oh,
throat
no,
stomp
no.
you in
Oh,
Transylvania.
no.
He just
no.
went there. He just went
Transylvania,
Well, no,
mate.
come
We're
on,
going to
no,
be
but
camping outside the Agartha Wells.
Exactly. No, the thing is, it all boils down to what Gig was saying. Some people just don't want a PvP. I respect your opinion there, Very. That yeah, it is part of the secret world because this is where you can fight the other factions. But fighting the other factions, to me, fighting the other factions on only 3 maps, 2 of which get confusing sometimes, and you can't even get into half the time. Well, I suppose maybe now, but before when I was trying, I couldn't get into them. The only one I can get into Fusang, and then I have to. Well, I suppose now, with the motorcycle, you can get around a little bit faster. But anyway, yeah, fighting them on the
buy
same
the
3
issue.
maps. But if it comes out with new maps, something to explore, I'll do that for at least 10 kills, and then.
Yeah, exactly. Buy the issue. Support Funcom.
But
Well,
the thing is,
And-
it might be
and-
good. It might be good to have a venue change. Like scenario PvP. Get into the scenario maps with PvP. I know I'm saying that because it sounds cool and it probably would never ever work. But I've always been a PvE player because I like the story. I like going around, and every time
That's
I
what
play.
you get with Stonehenge.
Yeah, but in Stonehenge, it is player versus player, and a lot of time you get rickrolled. You get
Oh,
rickrolled in
really?
PvP.
Can I
You know-
just
Yeah.
I haven't
go.
even finished.
no,
Yeah.
just
Xander, you were outdone by 2 ladies.
I don't say
Yeah,
anything for the
yeah,
whole
no,
episode.
no.
I can't get this out.
I just no, very quickly, just Bobski. I just got to give a shout out to Bobski. No, there's no very cam.
Yeah, he's requesting a very cam. He's
Yeah.
demanding, in fact. I told him he better stop or he'll be in very, very trouble.
He will.
Yeah,
But
you're
when-
going after him next.
But when I did LD, I get them mixed up sometimes. When I did El Dorado, I used to play El Dorado a lot, and then I used to get really aggravated because we get this random, Illuminati guy, go over and take the relic over to the Templars, which have all the relics, give it to them, and there's still like I don't know, a lot of time left on the map. They would just give them the relics. Is like, what are you? At first, I thought this was really crafty that the opposite faction made an alt just to put in a character on the Illuminati side to get the relic. I thought it was like right crafty until I found out what the real reason was, just so to kill the timer so we can get on to the next game. And I'm like, oh my god, really? You're like purposely losing just to get to no. You see,
Conspiracy theories.
Dude,
Isn't
that's
Yeah.
that
what
what the
happens in Team
game's all
Fortress
about?
2 all the time, man. Go play Team
Yeah,
Fortress 2,
but it's
Borderlands, all these
bollocks.
games. People do that all the time.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
bollocks.
No,
You
it
play to
doesn't
win.
happen.
If
I'm
you don't play to
sorry.
win, don't play. You know what I mean?
No, I agree, Xander. But I would say that on the whole, you'll find that the problem I think that we've got at the moment in PvP is that, and this is what I hope the Equal Foot and Buff helps with, is that we have a lot of endgame players in our game. And I would invite PvEers to come into PvP to test builds out and try them, because we have a lot of really good PvPers that know the full wheel, that use the full wheel, and that are theory crafters beyond my scope.
I'm sorry. I wanted to comment back when we were talking about scenarios as far as issue 12 and as far as content that not everybody likes. Issue 8. I don't think everybody buys issue 8 anymore, but that's still, a valuable issue to some people, to the people who
Which one
play
was that?
scenarios and want more variety.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the thing is,
Yeah.
I actually really like scenarios, and scenarios I firmly believe have improved me as a player in TSW because they've started me onto another path of thinking. When I started out, I was paying attention to what kind of build I was using, abilities, the stats, and everything, and then I found a group of friends that I started playing with, and then it was just steamrolling through absolutely everything because they were just way too powerful.
So a bunch of us are glad they released the scenario issue, even if maybe not everybody wanted to play scenarios, and maybe if even not everybody bought it.
I really,
Well-
really like it, and I think it holds a lot of promise if the development team can find the time to get a few. I think they have pretty good ideas for scenarios. They just need to find the time, and I think a lot of players have been turned off by the scenarios, simply because they were told they're just grindy. You're not going to get much out of it. But as you said, it's like mini games. Some people say they take too long. They take 20 minutes. You go into one dungeon alone. You can spend double that amount of time on just one boss. You keep on wiping and wiping and wiping.
So you get more out of it though.
What? One
Yeah, you
black
do.
bullion for one boss?
I have to say I'm in the camp of pretty much the same as Xander. I detest scenarios.
I win.
Detest them. The thing to remember about the issue 8 is that the idea behind bringing out issue 8 was to ramp up for Tokyo, because obviously you needed the Oreos to buy the thing to get into Tokyo in the first place.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously they brought the price down for that now. So you need to run one of them, and then you can go straight into Tokyo.
You just need one Oreo.
Yeah, exactly. So all you need to do is run one scenario, get maybe
Unless you're
a
one of those
bronze.
counterfeit people, they got a counterfeit one.
Yeah,
That's
those
true.
I'm
lose
looking
it
at you,
way.
Girly.
But I mean, I've ranted about scenarios in the past. You know, I don't think they teach you a single thing about Tokyo.
No.
Depending on your build,
Well,
I've gone
Agreed.
into Tokyo with my standard build and I've done perfectly fine. I've never had an issue. So
Well, I was just leading off of that because just comparing it, it was another issue that maybe doesn't appeal to everybody, but they still released it, and you know, like the dungeon issue maybe won't appeal to everybody, or like the PvP issue maybe won't appeal to everybody.
They should have issues that have all of this stuff involved. You know, maybe not.
things.
Maybe not. Perhaps have a PvP soul, issue, but have like you do your standard pie chart. Let's say 50% of the content in it is PvP orientated. Honestly, how much PvP stuff could you put into one update that people would buy? I'm talking about everybody. I'm not talking about the PvPers. I'm talking about everyone would buy. The thing is, if you maximize and diversify your update, like a pie chart, let's say 50% of it is a PvP update, and then maybe put like a dungeon, like one dungeon. Boom, there's like maybe another 30%, maybe a couple of clothing, and those side stories that they made that they didn't sell, they throw in a couple of those. Boom, you have yourself an issue. Boom, something that everyone would probably buy.
I think looking at something a little bit wider, okay, than just how well a particular issue sells, I think they're doing a good thing for, I don't know if brand loyalty is the word I want, for player loyalty, player retention. Dungeon runners and PvPers have both waited a really, really long time for updates, right? It's a positive thing, even if you don't necessarily PvP, to see Funcom doing something for these people that have been waiting. And you can look at them and go, oh, well, they said they were going to do something and they're following through on that. That's maybe not as quantifiable as how well the issue itself sells, but it still is a good thing, as far as keeping your customers.
True.
And keeping a good reputation in general. I know the biggest thing my friends complain about in games is if they feel like the dev team doesn't listen or the game is screwing them over. So it sounds good to other people too when you can say, hey, yeah, my game, they're doing this thing for these people, and
I'm
Around
sorry.
words.
Can I just cut in? I'm looking at the Twitch comments of Bubsky. You're tonight's winner. He said Xander should sing all his answers. In my opinion, if
Please,
he starts
sir.
doing that, he will be my main berry.
Oh god.
nice.
Do you want to have some PvP?
Oh, no,
Or have
no,
a
you
dungeon
shush.
run?
You shush.
Would you like some
Just say the word.
scenarios?
Just say the word,
Or kill
Gig. I'll
Cthulhu
do it.
underneath the sun?
Have I been ditched for
And I'm gonna
Xander?
be censored. Might as well hang up and wonder why.
Okay, just because he said
But I can
he
build a
thinks you should,
snowman in TSW.
Xander.
don't ask us why.
Oh, wait.
Xander.
You wanna build a snowman?
I was so gonna do that. Oh my god, I really love where his nose is sticking out.
That was great.
Oh my god, she's fully operational. Batteries not included.
No, just continuing there. I was just going to add on the end there. What you were talking about there, Xander. I'm in complete agreement with. I really think they should have a little bit of everything in the different issue releases, just to maximize their market potential, if nothing else. I mean, they're complaining that side stories didn't sell as well as they'd hoped. Maybe if they'd expanded those into larger issues with PvP content, dungeon content, scenario content, perhaps they would have sold better.
Well, yeah, like let's call the black pot black. This isn't WoW. This isn't anywhere near World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft. Okay, there's a lot of people that play World of Warcraft that I've talked to, and their last couple expansions are well, they're always theme based, and because they have such a large community, they can sit there and make a theme based update, and that's cool, and that's great for them. But we have a very smaller community and a very diversified community. Okay, now we can't. Okay, like we had what's that one issue 9? I keep thinking
That's
one.
Tokyo.
That was Tokyo, yeah.
Okay, issue 8 was scenarios. Issue 7, I keep wanting to say A Dream to Kill.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's right.
With the
So
nursery.
Yeah, so that one had probably that in issue 7, the one with the last train to Cairo. Those were theme orientated. Okay, so they had a whole story arc going in one direction. It doesn't matter how you play the missions, you went in one direction. It had a story. Okay, that was very theme centric. That doesn't cut it now because we have a smaller community now. Hopefully, I
I
don't
think
know.
our community is bigger now
Okay.
than it was back then.
Maybe it's bigger, but since the money counts, at the end of the day, we could love the Secret World all it wants. If it doesn't make any money, guess what? It's closing. Let's just call it as it is, right?
The problem to remember about doing themed content is that, especially in comparison to something like World of Warcraft, I mean, they've got such a huge IP that their world can support a themed release because they've got so much content and history
Exactly.
and lore to pull from. The Secret World doesn't. We don't have a massive pool of lore to pull from, except for what Scriv maybe pulls out of his backside. But
Like an eyeball.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, a lot of it relies on them basically coming up with it on the fly. So I mean, it's not something they can really kind of focus on in terms of themed content. It'd be nice, don't get me wrong, because issues 6 and 7 were absolutely goddamn fantastic.
Mhm.
I love playing them. Even though it was repeatable content and you had to keep playing it every single day to get your credits of Kadoro. I actually really enjoy playing those issues.
Yeah, like what I was saying, and you just elaborate on that. WoW can do that because it has such a major community. They could literally put out Mr. Hanky the Christmas Poo special edition, toilet. They could just totally drop that. See what I did there? Drop that. They could totally drop that, and guaranteed, you're gonna have the completionists. So even if 1% of their community are completionists, there's $1 million, right? And you're gonna have those weirdos, like, oh my God, it's Hanky the Christmas Poo. He needs to be, and I need you. They know the song off by heart, right? Even if you are a Jew, they're gonna buy it. And the oddballs are gonna buy it. Okay, I'm not trying to, I'm not gonna go through the whole classifications of different people in the community. But anyway,
That's right. Oddballs covers most of WoW's fan base.
Yeah. So keeping that in mind, if you take something like that and that wouldn't really work, I don't think, for the Secret World, because we don't have that clientele yet. Hopefully it'll come, but we don't have that clientele yet. Now, if you take like the pie chart, like I just said a minute ago, like the pie chart, issue 12, or if issue 13 for PvP. If issue 13 for PvP as a PvE player for me, if that drops and it's solely PvP content, why would I buy it? There's nothing in there for me. And not that I'm trying to, I'm throwing the opposite side of the story. I'm that guy.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why I
there's
brought it
there's
up.
multiple sides to this.
Yeah.
That's the fun
Yeah.
of trying to discuss all the sides, because there are many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the douchebag. Why would I buy that? Now, if they threw in like that Tron outfit that's white, I'm be like, damn, man, I have to buy that.
I'm
But it'd be
wondering.
cheaper than
Or cool
with
weapon
the-
skins, I'd probably buy it. But for like a
I'm-
new PvP map, a couple PvP powers, a PvP costume, I ain't gonna buy it. I'm just gonna probably save up my money and get some more lockbox bags.
But you know what? Let's not forget that PvP issue 13 will actually be part of the main story. So people who play this game for the story will end up buying it. I think it's gonna have something to do with the secret world. Right?
PvP
With
game!
the sorry, not the. Of course, it's gonna have something to do with the secret world. Duh. With the secret war.
PvP gate. They're making me
Well, and-
PvP just so I can get through my story mission.
Can I just say,
Damn you, Barry!
Hang on, guys. Hang on,
I
guys.
love you. You are awesome, but damn you.
Griff, you wanted to say something.
If I can remember what it is.
Sorry.
Oh,
Griff,
I
you
might
need
have
to
lost it.
remember.
No, I got it.
'cause I'm
I got it.
Batman.
I wonder if one of the reasons they're doing the issues like this isn't also because they want to do so many updates for dungeons or so many updates for PvP that it makes more sense to stack them all together and get them finished and get them out than do all of this PvP content and try to put more story content, and then we have to wait how much longer for the issue. You know what I mean?
But didn't they always kept saying that the reason they can't really discuss the PvP issue is because it is part of the
Right.
story.
Right,
So
right, right.
that's
But as far
always
as-
been part of the story. It's not like you have two components to that. Everything kind of is worked together in one.
Right, right. I'm talking, well, like the idea of doing something that's got group content and single player content and this and this and this. Maybe why it makes more sense to kind of pull all of the dungeon stuff together here and then pull all the PvP stuff together here and pull the story through it instead of trying to. I'm not wording very well tonight.
No, that's okay. I think I know what you mean. And the thing is, change the batteries. Yeah, we'll all
Yeah.
be changing the batteries soon.
Just
But-
don't put them in backwards.
The thing is, these are all pure speculations on our part, right? From what we know, issues so far, especially collector's editions of the last few content releases, have been selling extremely well. Not to mention all the bags during the events that have been they've been selling really, really well as well. So when it comes to that, I think, especially with the third anniversary, Funcom as a company, I think is in a better financial position than they were before the anniversary. But at the same time, like I said, it was just kind of like a fear that, or maybe more of a nagging feeling, like, oh man, I hope they do well.
You got that nagging feeling.
Oh,
that
okay.
nagging feeling.
As you've
Well,
been
and-
pretty quiet in all of this. What do you think?
In song.
Well, thoughts, yes. I thought that I'm currently thinking that not having a coffee in the morning is having significantly more of an impact upon my ability to contribute to this show than I had initially thought would be the case. We're talking about PvP. Issue 13 will not just be PvP, just as issue 12 is not just dungeons. There's going to be a little bit of story stuff, a little bit for
And
other
dragons.
people as well. And if we have to do PvP to get through the story, it wouldn't be the first time, as initially in issue 8, people had to do scenarios to get through with the story content. I wouldn't be surprised if issue 12 makes you go through a dungeon to progress, but I don't think they will make that happen.
Yeah, I don't see it being done because it hasn't been done before. So
Well, and if
dungeons
the
were always optional.
and if the point of it is plays you want to play, it would kind of contradict itself to be plays you want to play, but you have to do this.
That is the rest of the game, really. There are definite things you have to do. You can't just do whatever you want. But it's a nice marketing idea. Some games, some MMOs do make you do dungeons. I know Final Fantasy XIV, as part of the story mission, you have to then go through dungeons as well, which I found quite surprising.
But you know what? Talk about company actually wanting you to go into a specific content or part of the game that you may not necessarily want to go in or do on a particular day. Another thing that they will be introducing with issue 12 are the new challenges, daily and weekly challenges. And there's been a little bit of a heated discussion on how well the challenges will be received by the community. What do you guys think about those? Like, do you think they will be well received by the community? Do you think they will have any bearing on your gameplay, or what are your thoughts on those? Who's gonna go first?
I think some
Riff.
of the conspiracies that have been put forth on them, they're impressive. We have an
I know.
impressive community for coming up with
Ooh.
conspiracies.
What's your favorite one?
What? Like what?
I don't want to even make an example and accidentally be calling anyone out specifically because I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
Well, don't say their names, just say that...
I don't think that introducing challenges will automatically make this into an entirely different game, like say WoW. I think it's maybe going a little too far to say just because they're implementing something, the entire game will change.
That's not much of a conspiracy theory, that's just
Yeah, that
plain out
kinda
wrong.
Yeah, I can tell by the
No
look on his
offense,
face.
but
He
on
wasn't
the-
happy.
On the totem pole of conspiracy theories, that's like not even above the ground yet. You can do better than that. Come on,
Well,
I know you
I
can
think
do it.
well, it was connect up into the Funcom obviously wants to lower the bar for playing this game, so they're going to turn it into WoW, and they're going to turn it into WoW by having challenges, and then all of the unwashed masses will come play this game, and the entire community will suck.
That sounds
And
like
I'm sure the end of the world is in there
elitist,
somewhere.
to be honest.
You couldn't possibly turn this game into WoW because we have standards. Oh shit! Did I say that?
Well, that sounds like in-game elitists, very similar to what people said about LFR in WoW, looking for raid. Where anyone could get in and do a quick end-game raid with a
quickie.
pickup group. And it sounds like people are saying the same kind of thing. You know, oh my god, the sky is falling. Anyone can do raids. Oh no.
Well, that's
That's
gonna be
all.
really
There's-
awkward.
How dare people be able to enjoy the content they're
Exactly.
paying for?
That's gonna be
That's-
a really awkward conversation to watch in chat. Hey man, want to do a quickie? Okay.
I have expected to see.
I need 5 more
Az
people
go-
for a quickie.
But you know what? Okay, Az, you go first.
You-
What's
you
your
had-
What's your like favorite conspiracy theory?
Do you
when
have a
it comes to
cookie?
dailies?
Oh, yes, my favorite conspiracy theory is that they are making the game much more accessible to a wider audience, and then they're going to sell the game to a bigger company. That's my favorite conspiracy theory.
Oh,
They're always
now
changing,
that is a
slowly making the
conspiracy
game
theory.
more accessible, fleshing it out, making it more enticing to new players, and with the various new monetization methods, then it's going to look better to investors. That's my favorite conspiracy theory.
Oh, bravo.
Okay.
And that wasn't even a
really
cookie.
like.
You asked.
Yeah, I did, and I don't regret asking. The thing is, I don't have any wild conspiracy theories to contribute, but I really, really like how players are arguing their point against those challenges, dailies or weeklies, it doesn't matter, by saying, well, people don't like being told what to do, or, that they have to do certain type of content in order to get the reward. And I'm sitting here going like, what? Why would you feel compelled to do certain content just because it offers a reward? I'm sorry, but there's, especially if you don't really like doing group content, you don't go into dungeons simply because they give out black bullion. So
Right.
why would you then, according to that logic, be forced to do any kind of daily or weekly challenge?
How
You're
dare
not.
Funcom
and the
give me
currency
content
they're
to have fun?
and the currency they're giving out is going to be available other ways. You're going to be able to get it through dungeons. You're going to be able to get it through PvP. So it's not even like the only way you can get this currency is by doing these challenges.
Exactly.
Gig's
Gig.
waving. He's
I think
freaking me out.
Gigabyte has something to
Sorry.
say there.
Yeah, that argument shows a fundamental misunderstanding of game design. If you don't want to be led by the nose to do a certain thing, don't play video games. The whole idea of making a video game is so that someone can lead you through a storyline to what they want you to experience. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of the reason why people make video games in the first place.
That's
So
a
if you
really
feel
good
that way,
point.
don't play video
Good
games.
A little, a little more
really good
brutal than
point.
expected, but good point.
Totally broke the fourth
It is
wall.
yeah. It is a big, we're in a big Skinner box. We keep doing things and hope to get rewards. And if they can point at different parts of the game, we can do it if we want to. We don't have to do it though. There is we're gonna want to do it if the reward is good enough. Like, not to blow my own horn, but if you look at me in game, I currently have the Cataphile title. I have not sworn at my computer more often than trying to get that achievement. I did not enjoy a single moment of doing that, but I did it because I am
Well-
trapped in game design and needed that title.
Well, that's kind of your choice to continue playing something that isn't fun because you want the reward.
Yeah, but you see, people think that just because they feel that way about their own gameplay, that same thoughts are shared by the majority of other people in the game. Therefore, if they dislike it, everybody's going to dislike it, or at least the vast majority, and it's going to be a flop, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be that. And it's like, well, some people have also argued, well, come on, look at any game out there, any MMO that has dailies. How successful are they? And yet again, it's hello, people. This
Hello,
is just
kitty.
another way of getting people to experience something else in the game and getting a nice cool reward for it, like doing a scenario. You don't have to do it, like everyone pointed out. You don't have to do it. If you choose to, it's there.
Well, it seems like some of the arguments too are that in most games the dailies are of the go kill 10 rat variety, and we don't have that many missions like that in game.
We don't have
Like, I
that
don't
many
think there's
rats
some-
in game.
I don't think they're suddenly going to come up with really, really stupid, boring missions just for the challenges. The point was to the point was a reason to run old content that's already there.
And dailies do give people a reason to log in every day. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as there is something on offer. Even if they log in and their friends aren't online, you can still get maybe there's an interesting mission you can do. And with the new proposed dungeon finder, the automatic grouping tool, that's going to be easier to do some of these.
Yeah, that's another point that I wanna bring up as a last part of today's Beyond the Veil. But going back to what you said, dailies bring you give you a reason to log into the game every day. And I really believe that that's true. 'Cause I'll tell you a story. I was traveling on my way from Europe to Canada, and I had a 4-hour layover in Iceland. And what was I supposed to do? I busted out my laptop and I started doing the Egypt dailies. So, it helped me kill like 15 minutes of my time. And I did my dailies. I, gathered my Kadora cards and I was happy. Zandy, on the other hand, who was waiting in Canada, wasn't really that happy. He didn't have a laptop with him.
And
I
Cheetah,
played
Well,
Angry
and
Birds.
and you brought up a really good point too, that just because one person hates doing something to get a reward, other people might enjoy it. I loved hunting rare bosses. I would have done that even if there wasn't a reward because I just thought that was fun. I'm sure other people hated slogging through trying to find the stupid rare bosses just to get the title or the jacket. Da.
You know what I ended up actually doing the last few days when I was in game? I wanted to farm as if I didn't, farm the golems enough and got a whole bunch of signets. I need more. And like when I see a blue sitting on 6 of them, I need to get the other 4, which means I need to get 40 of the green ones. So that's going to take a while. But in any case, I went to the Kingsmouth Airport, which is my favorite hunting ground. And of course, it was jam-packed. So what do? I'm like, well, okay, there's one in Savage Coast. So I go there. That one's taken. So I don't want to take someone else's spot. So I decide, okay, so I've never actually farmed, at least not to the extent that I used to farm in the quarry in Blue Mountain before, or the Kingsmouth Airport, or the Savage Coast. So I go to the other spots, and they're nice and neatly marked on the map, so you can't miss them. They're close to the well, and I started exploring those for the first time. I probably maybe farmed in different locations other than those initial 3 that I mentioned, maybe 3 times, 5 times in 2.5 years, 3 years almost. So, I ended up doing that. And some of those really suck when it comes to the return. Like, seriously, like, what? I'm never coming back here again. And then I hear other players say, hey, that's my favorite spot to farm. I always get good loot from there. And I'm thinking, okay, should I give it another go? Okay, maybe not. But some of them
the fickleness
really
of the RNG god.
I know, right? But every time I go to my usual spots, I get good loot in return. So there you go. No wonder it's taken most of the time. Okay, so a little bit of a sidetrack, but as you mentioned the new Dungeon Finder. Now, why do you guys think it'll be more successful than the current looking for group tool that we have in game now? Specifically because we have the new social tool. Everybody uses chat, which is supposed to be social tool for actually finding groups, either via Noobmare, Sanctuary, or the LFG chat. Do you think players will actually end up using more of a social tool to actually find groups as they do now, using chat? Or do you really think that they'll go back to the Dungeon Finder and start finding groups via the Finder?
It's going to be interesting to see who's going to use the Dungeon Finder. The elitists, the Uber in-game, they're not going to use it. They're going to stick with their friends list or people they already know. They're not going to want to risk getting in a, I suppose you call it a bad pug. The middle to the newer player is probably going to be best for newer players who are just starting out and are having trouble getting into a group. This will give them a chance to get into a group, and you'll be able to meet new people, you'll be able to see different things. But also, I'm thinking people will have to use more conservative builds. I would be more likely to sign up as a fist healer than, say, a leech healer. Well, you just sign up as a healer, but I'd be more likely to use a build that is more versatile rather than knowing that you can just burn through everything. So you go your burning build. You're going to have to tailor to each group rather than picking your group. If that makes any sense, which I don't think it does.
No, I'm following. I guess
Yeah.
my thought is any other MMO I've played with a dungeon finder, some people use the dungeon finder. Some people spam chat. Some people only run content with their friends or with their guilds. I mean, every game, different people prefer different methods, and sometimes people swap between. People who normally run with their friends, none of their friends are on, so they go by the dungeon finder.
Yeah, I mean, Noob Mares and Sanctuary, they're still going to exist. I personally, the most exciting part of this Dungeon Finder, and Katarina just pointed this out in chat as well, is that it will, no matter where you are in the game, you can sign up for it, like where you are physically, and then it will, when the group is formed, it will teleport you into the dungeon, and then it will teleport you back to where you were beforehand. It won't just dump you out in front of the well in Agartha. That's going to be convenient, and that would be, I'm not sure if it would be enough of a reason to use it, but it's definitely a nice perk.
It sometimes mean people, see, I can't talk tonight. People who normally maybe wouldn't want to stand around waiting to collect a group can just set that going and run their thing. So yeah.
See, the way I see these sort of things, a good group finder, or well-built group finder, is the basis of getting people into dungeon content in the first place. I mean, you get your first dungeon quest just before you leave Kingsmouth, and a lot of people may not be aware of the group finding tool at that point. But if it's well designed and well implemented, you get to know about that function early on in the game, and then you can progress through the game, going through the different dungeon content until you hit that point where you're starting to go through your elites and your nightmares, and then you usually start moving on to using the chat tool because you've got become more familiar with the community. You've maybe joined a guild by that point. It's kind of a well-designed group finder is the start in your journey of becoming an end gamer.
It is, but at the same time, the reason why the current one isn't working, among other things, is as well because sometimes groups want to do it quickly, or players want to progress through a dungeon quickly, and if they have a newbie tank who may not know all the ways to tank, or the easier way for DPS to burn the boss, or whichever the reason, so the gear of the players in the group can vary ostensibly. Does that do you think that in this new dungeon finder, that the effusion rating that we get on our gear, do you think that will play some sort of a part in determining how to group players?
If it does, it better not play a big part.
I don't think it would be particularly useful in that way, just with so many different ways to set your deck and so many gear combinations. I don't think it would be a very effective way to sort people.
Yeah, because effusion rating means absolutely nothing. You can have a pretty good effusion rating, but your build can suck. I can vouch for that. Yeah, so it was just a question, throwing it out there. I've actually heard people ask me that as well, when I was playing. Yeah, people are even pointing effusion is so useless. Yeah, Kat says, I don't think so. It will be stupid. Yeah, it's a gear score, but it's not really, it doesn't really reflect the proper score that you end up having in a
Neither does
particular
Gear Score.
build. Yeah, but still, it's not the gear, it's what you do with it. And the thing is,
Yep.
another point that was kind of pointed out to me today or yesterday was the fact that for new players, a lot has been done in with the release of EPE, whereas manuals were improved, new guidelines were created, new manuals were created, a lot of things were clarified. But one thing that is still kind of missing for players is to know how to gear up using glyphs and the importance of glyphs in our gear. While yes, there have been certain moves in the direction of changing the kind of loot that drops from certain zones. So hopefully, you have to rely on people actually looking at that and noticing the glyphs and seeing, okay, this is hit rating, this is penetration, maybe I should get more of the hit and penetration, or should I take a health because I keep on dying? Should I take heal just to heal myself? So there's lots of like critical rating, critical power. People get confused by it more often than not. I know that starting out, I was getting confused by it until, people told me, no, just put everything into hit. And then it was like, oh no, you have way too much hit, put everything in pen. And then it was like, when I started tanking, oh, you want to have block? And I was like, oh, shut up, you guys. You told me first hit, then pen, now block. What the hell do you want from me? And then someone said, oh, you'll want to have also some evade as well. So, it can get, if you're a solo player, it can get really confusing. So something along the lines of actually explaining that better in game in some sort of a manual, and explaining why you glance and, why you shouldn't stack all health pieces on you, because you're not gonna kill anyone with health. So that would be another way that the game could be improved, possibly. This just came out of nowhere. Sorry, I started thinking about what I was talking to other players about lately.
Going back to the start of the show, we started talking about Marks of the Pantheon, and then we got distracted. So bringing it back to that, we were talking about the Marks of the Pantheon are going to have both a cap and on how many you can hold at any one time, and a cap on how many you can earn each week. So that's interesting. You can't just grind them and continually upgrade. Now, currently on Test Live, the cap on how many you can hold is 5 weeks worth. But what you can buy with them is interesting. Or, as they go on Test Live, what you can currently buy with them.
Is it 5 weeks? 'Cause I thought you can
5
only
weeks worth.
hold like 600 of them, but weekly is what, 240 or something like that?
120
Oh,
currently.
is it 120? Oh,
Yeah.
they lowered it then, I think.
Well, maybe I've got the number wrong. I think it's 120 currently is what the thing is. That could change.
Probably me.
Now, the only thing that we can currently buy in it is we can buy Criterions, Criterion upgrades, and Astral Fuses, and the new Superior custom weapon and talisman upgrade kits. Now, people were wondering how we were going to get the next level of upgrade, and would it be from the drops from the new dungeons? And it looks like the dungeons are now going to give us the currency that we need to buy these new toolkits. They might drop them as well. We're not sure yet. So it's going to be interesting to. The kits will then get you up to 0.6 and 0.7, and they are costing a lot. they are costing 70 or 80, depending on if you're upgrading a talisman or your weapon, whereas the Astrals and Criterions cost 40. And with 120 weekly limit, you're going to hit that. You're going to hit that. You're going to get one of the new toolkits and one of the, say, a fuse. You're going to hit that pretty quickly. No idea how easy they are to get yet, though.
Yeah, because they are above Black Bullion. Black Bullion is the top currency, and then, well, it's going to be the only currency apart from packs, and we'll have the Marks of Pantheon.
Yeah,
But
from
yeah.
what I understand, the final bosses in Nightmare Dungeons will drop them, and the final boss in the Nightmare scenarios will drop them. I'm not sure where else they come yet.
Okay, so only the proper nightmare stuff. There's not going to be
Or,
any
yes,
elite
the proper top of the top stuff. And
cream
in
of the
some
crops.
and in some of the harder Fusang missions too, apparently.
Well,
There's also a nice new image for bullion. That the black bullion icon is being updated to look like an actual bullion bar,
yeah,
but it's more silver than black.
it is. But then again, we had the white marks, black marks issue for so long.
I was
it
gonna
always
say,
used to confuse me.
everybody gets screenshots of your tokens now, so you always remember what it used to look like.
Yep. There's actually one with Az's write-up on wholesweetmedia.com for the streaming ones reveal of issue 12.
Did I hear you mention there's another streaming ones tomorrow?
There should be. If they're following the 2-week progression, there should be one tomorrow. However, being that it's holiday season, it might very well be skipped. So we might not have it tomorrow. I haven't seen anything on Twitter, being posted about, and I don't recall if they had said they're taking time off or anything like that. So I guess we shall see tomorrow. Let me just quickly check.
While you're looking at that, Vikestart in chat has just said that the weekly Pantheon mark limit is 240, so yeah, you're right, Antita, and I was wrong. It won't happen again.
Yay for me, at least once. Yep, there's still no word on the streaming ones, at least not officially. If does anyone know in Twitch channel, have you heard of anything that it might be postponed or anything like that? Feel free to post with the info to the information.
I think everyone's on holiday. I haven't really heard too much from the developers in the last week or two. Not on the forums anyway.
Yeah, there's good. July and August are usually the quiet months, and considering that they actually have issue 12, at least the first part of it, slated for release mid-August, I think it's safe to say that a lot of the team is probably on vacation sometime in July. So yeah, they deserve a break. All right, so we, Beyond the Veil, have a little event going on, and right now we'll see whether or not it will be held. It's the Poetry Jam. It is slated to take place on 25th of July, starting at 7 p.m. EST, which is 1 a.m. Central European time, and it is all about reading poetry. You can come into our studio and read it live, or if you are not able to participate live, you can send us an audio or video of you reading the poetry. All poems should ideally be your own work, but if there's something really something that moves you deeply, someone else's work, feel free to read that, as long as you properly credit it at the start. All entries, whether live or submitted via audio or video, must be less than 3 minutes long. You can check all the things are on the forum thread that I will post in a second.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing all the poetry that you folks have come up with there.
Oh, we don't come up with that.
I think,
you
Well,
mean
I mean,
the
folks
people
in
community?
listeners. Yes, the community.
I
Yeah,
think a
well,
prerequisite
hopefully-
for that one will be everyone on the show should wear black berets and turtlenecks.
Hopefully
Good idea.
it
Got a couple
will.
of days to track one down.
Tell me about it.
Okie dokie. Looking for it. There we go.
So this is in 2 days' time. Is that correct? Have I got that right?
Yep.
Oh, I miss clove. No, yeah, I miss clove cigarettes. But I guess if they were legal, I couldn't smoke them now anyway because I quit smoking. Damn it.
It's all about the vapes. Quit smoking.
Yes. True, and I have clove clove flavored vaping fluid. So ha.
Very nice.
Katsu keeps telling me that I should grab Griff and Gig and start a vaping podcast.
There have been people that tried doing that in the past. It didn't take off very well.
Lady Pyre says, vape. I look like I'm blowing an android.
All depends on
love
how
it.
big your box is.
Guys are really guilting me into giving up.
Cigarettes?
Fabulous.
Hopefully.
Do it.
Do it!
Do it now.
Oh, I'm gonna get the Shia LaBeouf "Do It" inspirational speech for her. You just gotta grab life by the balls and do it!